We begin tonight with our weekly DeAndre Hopkins update.
D-Hop is an elite guy.
You and I, we want to go with DeAndre Hopkins right away.
It makes sense to go get D-Hop.
We lost Juju. We lost Hardman. Those are veteran guys.
Yeah.
Bring him in. D-Hop. The Kansas City Chiefs are on the clock. They trade their fourth-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins. Could you imagine the pandemonium going on in there?
D-Hop. That's what I would want. Shoot, why would I'm like, hey, D-Hop. Before you even name anybody else, D-Hop.
So since our last show, things have gotten a little interesting and I would say exciting. So I'm going to go down a little timeline here, JD. So recently, Des Bryant took to Twitter, as he usually does, and he tweeted, I wouldn't be surprised if Odell or D-Hop go to the Chiefs. I wouldn't be surprised if both guys go to the Chiefs. A newly acquired defensive end, our guy, Charles Amenahu, who also played with DeAndre Hopkins in Houston, tweeted at DeAndre saying, come on, fam, we waiting on you. Hashtag Chiefs Kingdom. And then that same night, this is where it gets weird. Mahomes actually liked both tweets, and there's always these Twitter sleuths who are always on looking at people's likes all the time. I don't know who has time for this, but people are Mahomes' likes, and he liked Dez's tweet, and he also liked Charles's tweet. He ended up deleting his like on the Dez tweet, but he left the Charles one up. So it's like, so maybe not the OBJ one, but he maybe like the D-Hop one.
Right.
So as of right now, Vegas has the Chiefs as the third highest odds to get DeAndre Hopkins, behind Arizona at number 1 and New England number 2. But then a little while ago, Albert Breer, NFL Insider, wrote Chiefs have shown interest in both Hopkins and Beckham. He also said DeAndre Hopkins is not a consideration for the Patriots at this moment.
Yeah.
JD, lot to take in there. What do you think about everything that has transpired since our last episode?
Dude, and I've seen a couple of these tweets. I've seen the one Des Bryant put out. I had no idea that Patrick Mahomes liked it, and he had to take it away. But, what is there not to like? What is there not to like about something like that, right? As a quarterback, you're sitting there thinking that you're going to get 2 premier wide receivers, free agents in here, right? Or at least, DeAndre out there in Arizona, possibly getting a deal done with him, maybe a trade deal. What is it not to like? What is it not to like? I was just, what I was doing? I was going back and I was looking at what Patrick Mahomes, the guys he had to throw to when he made the Super Bowl, and all the Super Bowls he was in, the guys he had to throw to that was in the room, right? If he was able to get DeAndre Hopkins, okay, and you got MVS, Scott Moore, Kadarius Toney, Justyn Ross, John Ross. Okay, you have all these guys. They're playing with Travis Kelce. Man, come on. Without a doubt, you're immediately looking at being at the top of one of the best wide receiving core that Patrick played with. Okay, and I'm talking about pure receivers. I'm not talking about we understand the ability of Tyreek Hill, what he gave here, what he was able to do, Mecole and all those guys during that time. But we're talking about somebody like DeAndre Hopkins, who has been one of the premier wide receivers in this league in the last 10 years. Having him in the room, Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball to him, it will just be an amazing, amazing time in Chiefs history to have a guy like that here, that talent. And the same thing with OBJ. OBJ, look, and I'm not opposed to OBJ. OBJ is a very talented guy. I know people, was kind of put off because they was thinking he was asking for $20 million, whatever the market was. Right now, we know nobody's paying that money for wide receivers, just not. And especially a guy that's been out of football because of, ACL injuries. And so that is a concern for the guys here, of course, was OBJ. But if you were able to get, which I know Dez is saying it, but I don't see it happening, getting both DeAndre Hopkins here and OBJ. I don't still see how you could do that. But get one of the guys here. Obviously, our first choice, and I'm saying this, and we know we've been blowing the horn on this from day one, is getting D-Hop, trying to make that deal done. And so now this is encouraging news to hear that, hey, we're in the hunt. We're thinking about, we're the third, I guess they pick, like Vegas or whatever you sit there and said, on coming here to Kansas City. I still think there's a pathway to it to get to something like that done. It may take some time. These things do take time. When you developing a championship team like Veach and Andy is doing, it takes some time. It's going to take some collateral damage, right? We know, what do we have to do to work out people's restructured contracts. We know Pat was able to give some things back, restructured his contract. We gave him some more as far as money straight to his pocket. But these are things, man, we could definitely work out. I see it, and I've been talking about this all this time, that D-Hop is a guy that you need when you're trying to establish a dynasty, to win a championship. Go get a guy and a talent like that. So it's encouraging news, man. I like it. I do. I like every bit of it.
So when you sorry, a lot of people are kind of, some people are saying Daz just wants to be a part of the news at all points. He just wants to be his name thrown out there, which I mean, I'm sure it's a little bit, but Daz has a relationship with both these guys. I think 2 weeks ago, Daz was with DeAndre Hopkins. Daz has been friends with OBJ for a while. Do you think he's hearing anything? Do you think there is something when he says, "Oh, the Chiefs should go after these guys"? Think it's like he knows something? Because some people are saying it's just speculation. He's BSing people.
Well, it's speculation, but I'm sure same thing like the guys are. OBJ is sitting there thinking like, "Look, man, these are teams that's been out here. They had a list of guys that watched him in his workout in Arizona. D-Hop, the same thing. He knows, what all the grumblings are out here. Who's talking about who's getting him, who's not. He's going to be traded. Is he not? What are they willing to give up to get a guy like that, him there? And so Dez, he's talking to these guys. He's like, man, what are you hearing? What do you think? He's like, man, you know what? The deal out here may happen. But obviously, like business, they like, look, they got to have enough money for me. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to be able to be. But I'm sure a lot of it, man, is just all these conspiratorial theories and people putting things, man, look, they're trolling. They're having fun with this. Dez is having fun with it. D-Hop is having fun with it. OBJ is having fun with it. And so it's good because you keep everybody guessing during the off season, right? And so this is like a play thing for them. It's an old guessing game. Yeah. We just made it to a full game. Everybody's wondering what's going to be the next move, right? What's going to be the next move? So I just, I like it. I actually like it. I like the guys kind of playing this game because it's keeping everything kind of fresh. It's keeping things, inquisitive, you're just wondering like, okay. But, at the end of the day, man, I've said this and I put this tweet out and Lance had put something out. And I kind of supported what Lance said. And I agreed with 100% is if you get a veteran guy here, you can help develop these younger guys by teaching them what it is to be a champion, what it is to be a pro receiver, one of the top in the business. Guys that they probably grew up watching. These guys, these younger guys that are, year 1, 2, 4, 5, whatever it may be, they've been watching D-Hop play. They watched and say, man, this is the key wide receiver I want to be like when I get into the NFL. And so if you had a guy like that in the room that you could talk to, you can watch how he works in practice, how he gets open, just all of that, all that wealth of knowledge. Almost like the same thing like D-Hop learned from Andre Johnson, just watching this. I mean, that tutelage and having that is just so helpful. It helps the Chiefs in every way possible. Because what you're doing is you're imparting knowledge and information for the guys that's going to be here in the future. So we get D-Hop here for 2 years or however it may be. You get a guy in the draft, you can develop that guy. You don't have to be ready this year. He's watching D-Hop do it, right? These younger guys watching D-Hop do it. Or they're watching Odell do it. So now they get all that information and the Chiefs is going to benefit tremendously just from a guy like that in the room.
Yeah. Well, it's like we say, because I mean, that one of the things that we hear a lot from the Chief fans is the whole youth movement, youth. Like we said last week, it's like we already have enough youth in the room. We need someone who is, an older guy, a veteran who, is a legitimate number one receiver. And I'm not saying OBJ is a legitimate number one receiver now with all his injuries and how many times he's, how many years he's been away from the game, but like having that veteran presence around is good to have with these younger guys who really aren't used to being a professional in the game. They can learn a lot from OBJ, whether he is the same receiver he was 3 years ago or not. Yeah. And D-Hop's numbers in 6 games, like we talked about last week, speaks for themselves. Just like the youth movement is okay. It's fine, but like you don't need. I mean, if we draft another receiver, fine, that's cool with me. But as long as you bring in another veteran like D Hop or OBJ, I'd be happy.
Well, when we're talking about football, we understand that in football, probably one of the best currencies that you can have is experience in certain positions. And so when you have a young guy who doesn't know that much and he's trying to learn the game, he's trying to learn the speed of the game, he's trying to learn, just the whole tempo, how to get open. Like things are just different from college. And so experience really, it helps you out in the NFL. And so when you have one of the most experienced guys that could come in here, one of the greatest wide receivers that played in the last 10 years to come in and help you out, man, it just works. It just absolutely works. So that's what I would look at. I would look at it as more for an investment for the guys, young guys that we can get in the draft or wherever and say, hey, look, we got guys here. Hey, teach these guys how to do things the right way. Okay. And so the question is, are these guys the right fit for what we do? Okay. Because I know it's going to be one of those things that teams have to measure about, what is the guy going to bring to the table? What does OBJ bring to the table with these young guys? Okay. What does D-Hop bring to the table with these young guys? Is the guy going to be more about himself or is it going to be more about the team? Okay. What is he trying to do? Is he trying to push himself so he can get paid later on? Or what is it? What is he trying to, establish his legacy? All those things had to come into the factor. And so my thing is when I'm just I'm comparing the two, OBJ obviously has his injury, everybody kind of knows about, is the downfall for him. That's the thing that's going to hurt him. D-Hop, he was out 6 games last year for PEDs, and the year before that, he had a little bit of an injury. So he still played 9 games, with 64 catches, 717 yards, and 3 tubs. Okay, right? I'm going to keep saying that. And that production in itself is better than any production that we have on the team right now.
Yeah.
Right? And this is 9 games.
Yeah.
Come on, man. So I just think right now, if the Chiefs are serious, and I know they're serious about trying to win another championship, why not put yourself in a position, getting the best players here to have you accomplish that?
Yeah.
So.
And I think the market has kind of helped us in a way. And it's crazy how it's been kind of a dead period. Like, yeah, we had the Elijah Moore trade earlier, but it's been kind of dead overall in the entire league. You have amazing running backs. They're free agents still right now. Like Kareem Hunt's still out there. I mean, it's crazy. But the thing I wanted to mention is the fact that in the Albert Breer article, he said that that they don't think Arizona's going to get a second round pick anymore. Arizona knows that compensation ain't happening. They're looking more towards what Dallas traded Houston for Brandon Cooks, a 4th and a 6th round type package, which we can definitely do that. I think we have 2 4ths. We have multiple 7s. I think we have 1 6. So we can give a similar type deal, a 4th and a 7th for D-Hop. I think so. It's more the money game aspect, where in Breer's article, he says we have $10 million. We don't have actually $10 million. That $10 million that we restructured or that we gave up front to Mahomes, that went to Tranquil, Mike Edwards, Noddy, and Allegretti. We're going to get into Edwards and Tranquil later on the show, but that went to those contracts. So now we have, I think I read we have a couple $100,000 in cash right now. So there's going to need major things need to happen. And one thing is the Chris Jones extension, which will definitely free us some money this year at least, if we were to do that. And I think Jones and I think Veach is great at doing playing ballet gymnastics with the salary cap, so we could definitely open that stuff up. I'm not worried about that. And I think when we see a Chris Jones extension, I think that's going to lend a hand as what's the next domino to fall in this whole thing.
Right.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.